So, Tashidile, Namo Buddhaya, welcome everyone, my dear brothers and sisters, to session 5 of our guided meditation session. So we have weekly guided meditation sessions, and this is the 5th of 21 sessions. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Karma Tashi Children, and who are joining for the first time, welcome. So today we have a very profound topic that we want to meditate upon, and this topic is somewhat considered inauspicious for many people, but especially now during Chinese New Year, yeah. So people may think that my timing is off, but there is a very deep reason why I have changed the schedule of this meditation session to insert this one earlier than before. And what is today's topic? So today's topic is living fully, meditations on the transience of life. So when I say meditations, I mean we are looking at several different contemplations, meditations based on impermanence of life. Yeah. So by now I think you would already know what I'm talking about. I'm actually talking about this reflections on our mortality, right? So let me just say it out very loud and clear. We are going to do reflections on death and impermanence. Yeah. So it's a very important topic. So before you run away from this meditation or think that you ended up in the wrong place, and this is the season to be jolly, but you must understand that death has no time. It has no fixed place, no fixed time. It can come anytime, and it has come. So death has arrived in many households, and death is probably taking place anytime, anywhere in this world right now. Yeah. So regardless of timing, yeah. So we can't say that. Hang on, we are celebrating festivities, therefore we don't want to listen about inauspiciousness. So talking about death as something inauspicious is like talking about life as being inauspicious, because life and death are two sides of the same coin. The two sides of the same coin. We need to change our perspective on the way we view our mortality. And one of the most profound practices in Buddhism is the practice of Maranasati. So Maranasati is the Pali term for reflections on the fragility of life. Marana means death, and Sati means mindfulness. So Maranasati is mindfulness on death. Now, many of you may be wondering why suddenly I have chosen to talk about this topic. So welcome. Please, if you would like to sit there, it's fine. It is perfectly fine. Yeah. So please don't worry. So, okay. So just a very quick welcome to those of you who just arrived. Yeah. Thank you very much for joining us. So I would like to urge you to put a smile on your faces. Yes. So it's been a very difficult day. You've walked and come here huffing and puffing. Some of you are red in color, blushing, and so red, all flushed. But anyway, yeah. So we are in touch with our bodies, and last week we talked about the mindfulness of body, Kaya Gata Sati, or you can also understand it as Kaya Nupassana, which means that you're clearly reflecting on your body. So now, yeah, for those of us who may, you see, some people, that we cannot say that there is a specific time to talk about something as profound as our mortality. And one of the reasons why I'm saying this is because yesterday I lost my mentor, and a teacher, a mentor, and a good friend, and also my boss. Yeah. So it is. So death can come knocking at anybody's door anytime. And this YouTube video today, this guided meditation is in memory And in honor, it's my way of paying tribute to my mentor, Professor William Fred Case, who was the head of the School of International Relations and Politics at the University of Nottingham, Malaysia, where I am a staff. So it's due to Professor Case's great kindness that I, as a monastic, wearing my robes, is given full respect and full permission to walk through the corridors of the university dressed in my monastic robes and to teach, all my students, and some of you are also here. Yeah, so otherwise I would have had to change these robes and be somebody else in order to come and teach, which was not something which I was happy to do. But if I had no choice, because I also have to survive as a monastic, I would have had to do it anyway. Yeah. So, but Professor Case and the professor before that also, I also must mention Professor Travel Prophet, who was also our head of school, who also has passed on. He passed on quite a number of years ago. So I owe my presence in the university to these two professors, and not to mention two other good friends of mine, who are Patricia and Joshua Schneider. So, and I wish them very long life and good health, Pat and Josh. So we must always be grateful. This teaching today is a teaching on gratitude. We must never forget who played a vital role, a key role in our lives. So we must always bring them into our lives, lest we forget, that we are who we are because of the kindness of others, lest we forget and become arrogant. So one of the basic principles of Dhamma practice is to be grateful to those of us who have paved the way for us to be, to have better opportunities and to rise, in our career, and who has given us even one line of knowledge. That person is also very, very kind. Not to mention the janitors in our university or wherever that you may be, the kindness of the people who work on the roads, the kindness of all living beings who bring forth our food, the entire universe. So now, are we ready to dwell into this very profound topic? So we have started a little bit later than normal today, but that is okay. I'll try to make up for it in good time. So please allow me to recite some verses of refuge in my spiritual tradition. And I'm aware that in this room itself, there are people from various different spiritual traditions, and that's the beauty of it. So in your own spiritual tradition, you may want to take refuge in your own teachers, your masters, or the divinity. Just invoke in your mind, so that we start this meditation on a very blessed and auspicious note. Sangye chedang soke chedang na janjo bardo dani jab suji dagi je soke pe sonam ki dro la pe je sangye dro parisho. Sangye chedang soke chedang na janjo bardo dani jab suji dagi je soke pe sonam ki dro la pe je sangye dro parisho. Sangye chedang soke chedang na janjo bardo dani jab suji dagi je soke pe sonam ki Drola Benjere Sange Dro Parisho Sente Tanje Deva Tante Benjota De Parajoje Tuna Tantune Gi Judan De Parajoje Tune Mebe Deva Tampada Me De Parajoje Irichatani Tanda Vetanyo Jembola Ne Parajuruji Sente Tanje Deva Tante Benjota De Parajoje Sente Tanje Tuna Tantune Gi Judan De Parajoje Tune Mebe Deva Tampada Me De Parajoje Irichatani Tanda Vetanyo Jembola Ne Parajuruji Semje tamje deva dan deve judan de bare juje semje tamje dunga dan dunga ge judan de bare juje dunga me pe deva tapa da me de bare juje ni rin chata ni dan da we tanyon chempola ne bare juruji. May all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and from creating those causes of suffering from our own minds. May all beings never be separate from the bliss of the true nature of mind, our very own nature, our true self, and may all beings be free from aversion and attachment and remain in equanimity, grounded in the center of their very being. Semche naki sampatan lo ye jeta jeta wajen don tu monte pa ye cheki kolo kolo tu so. thank you very much. So I see that some of the YouTube viewers becoming lesser and lesser because this topic may be inauspicious. Yeah, so that is the saddest part. By if we're talking about Dharma practitioners, I think whether or not it is a festivity, or whether or not it is a new year, or whether or not it is whatever auspicious, inauspicious is here, only in our minds. It is not in the moon, in the star. It is in our minds. So we can take a topic as difficult as death and impermanence and turn it into auspiciousness and turn it into an opportunity for learning if we know how to do so, right? So this is something that you must understand, that there is no time and no place. The jaws of death, the messenger of death can come at any time. And and before you know it, it's time for us to go. But are we ready? Are we ready? And why is it so important? And why am I so keen on sharing this? Because we have a very good example through my own mentor, who has given the ultimate teaching on death and impermanence. And I do not want that to go in vain. So we must use every life experience that we have in order to transform it into an opportunity for transformation. And through this, we are repaying the kindness of our teachers and everyone else. Yeah? So that is how we have to look at every single thing in life, whether it is so-called good or bad, yeah, auspicious, inauspicious, whether you like it or you don't like it. All these things, you turn it into an opportunity, you bring it onto the path. Bring it onto the path, whatever spiritual path that you have, whatever negativities, whatever challenges in life, you bring it on as an opportunity for you to learn something. And when you do that, that's how personal transformation occurs, right? So if you keep on pushing away things that you don't like, I don't want to listen to it at this moment because I'm celebrating, or I don't want to talk about this now, because it's a wedding, that. So, but you know that, life is uncertain. So, but death is certain, right? So, now, I want you to generate this very deep motivation that may this practice bring benefit for all beings. And also recall in mind all those who have left, all those whom you know, who are no longer in this world. For those of them who are passing away at this moment, who have just recently passed away, or who have passed away a very long time ago, we can still bring them to mind, not because we are attached to them, but because we would like to use this opportunity. We are requesting for them to be objects of our meditation today. And the positive potential, the merits that are accrued from these reflections, we also will share with them at the end of this video, of this session. Okay. Right. So now we will begin with our normal. So whatever meditation that we do, we never forget to begin with our pranayama. Okay, so pranayama, so those of you who are not sure, who have never joined me, so please listen up. So put your back straight and a smile on your face, right? So every morning, if you can do this, is very good. I mean, you're already stressed, it's very good, because this will balance your restless energy that you brought when you were coming in. When you were coming in, you're huffing, you're puffing, you're driving, you're tired, maybe you're having a headache, or it's just too hot, too cold, to this and to that, yeah. So this will balance and bring your mind back to the center. So you balance the negative cheese, and you will reorientate your mind and bring it back to your breath. So the object is the breath. So get ready. So observe my fingers. So with your left hand and your thumb, so you block one nostril. So breathing in, you breathe in through your right nostril. Breathing in. I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Aware of what? Aware of your in-breath and out-breath. You breathe in, you breathe out. You're aware that you're breathing in, you're aware that you're breathing out. Okay, just observe me one time. So breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. And then you block your right nostril with your ring finger. Breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. In, out, in, out. So breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. In, out, in, out. Breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. Okay? Oh, good, you've already started. Actually, it doesn't matter. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. You fast learners. So breathing in. So you breathe in like that. And don't forget to put a smile on your face. Okay. Close this. What is your name, young man?
My name?
Yeah. Zheng Yan. Xuan. Xiong Yuan. Is it correct spelling? Pronunciation? Okay. So we put our left hand like this, yeah. Block our left nostril. Okay. And then our ring finger, then we block our right nostril. So that's how you breathe in. And then you block again with your thumb, and then you breathe out. And then you breathe in again. And then you block again with your with your ring finger, you breathe. I hope the viewers can see me now. So breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. You can mentally tell yourself, breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. And then breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. In, out, in, out. Once more, breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. In, out, in, out. Breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. In, out, in, out. And then once you are comfortable, actually you do 3 cycles of that, but that's okay. We don't count. I think the more you count, the more stressful it is. So bring your right hand over your left, your 2 thumbs joining together. Put a smile on your face and rest your hands on your laps or slightly elevated above, so that your spine is straight and your body is relaxed. Your shoulders are relaxed also. Nothing forced, it's just a natural breath going in and going out, going in and going out. So you put a smile on your face and you say, breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Both nostrils, yeah. Breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. In, out, in, out. Breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. In, out, in, out. So breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. In, out, in. So your focus should be on your breath, your natural breath, breathing in and breathing out without controlling, without suppressing, without following, without trying to conceptualize anything, just Tell yourself that breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in, which means that I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. In. So now, understand that my pace and yours is different, okay? I am different. I may breathe slightly faster than you. You might be slightly faster than me, or I may be slower than you. You just take my instructions, but you follow your own pace, yeah? Independent of me. So, breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. In, out, in. So you are going to focus on your breath like a gatekeeper, like a watchman, without missing a single breath. So you're fixated on the breath, yeah, and you are doing nothing but looking at your breath. So you continue at your own pace. Breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. In, out, in, out. Wonderful. Breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. In, out, in, out. Breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. In, out, in, out. So don't forget to maintain that smile. And if your mind has wandered to the past, or wandered off into the future, or it is clinging at something like and dislike, gently bring your mind back to your breath. If it has gone off balance, gently bring it back to the middle. So we are here to rebalance our energies, our life force energy, which is pranayama, pran, or in Chinese we say is qi, like qi gong. The exercise is for your life force energy, restoration. So pranayama is also to restore your life force energy and to bring you back into a perfect state of harmony by rebalancing your energies. Because our bodies, we have 5 rings in the body, and these rings are the ones that determine whether we swallow our food. It can allow us to swallow our food. It allows us to digest our food. It allows us to move or defecate. So all these things depend on the wind. And the wind is also where our consciousness is riding on the wind. Understand this, yeah? So our consciousness is like a horse rider. And the breath, the wind, is like the horse. So you understand that if your horse goes faster than you, if you're not ready, you fall off the horse. Right? And if your horse is slow, if you are so energetic, you might fall over the horse's head. So you want to go together along with the horse in perfect harmony. So therefore you've got to connect with your breath, which is the horse, and you, the horse rider, in perfect harmony, gallop away. So the pace of the horse is the pace of the mind. If your mind is if your breath is fast, your mind is fast. Your breath is slow, the mind slows down. But you're not controlling, you're just observing. With the natural breath, you tell yourself, breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. In, out, in, out. Breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. In, experience a sense of well-being, calm and peace, and slowing down. So your thoughts gradually start to fizzle out and settle down. So if you find yourself going back to the past, or going to the future, or grabbing at something that you like, or pushing away something that you don't like, either a memory or a smell or a sensation, please let go. The principle of meditation is letting go. Not to cling to anything. The moment we cling, we suffer. The moment we let go, we are liberated. So breathe in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. Okay? So we have some sense of calm and peace, so we will repeat the entire pranayama for those who are new. So once again, block your left nostril, tell yourself breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. So we will do our pranayama, and then we block the right nostril, breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out, and then breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in, breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out, in, so once again, breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. In. In. Breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. In. In. Once more, breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. In. In. Be very mindful of where your thoughts are at this moment, where your focus is. So with your right hand over your left hand again, both nostrils in the position of a mountain, both hands touching together, right? So breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. You tell yourself, breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. In. In. Breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. In. In. So please continue on your own. Focus on your breath, going in and out. Natural breath, relax your body. Don't be so rigid, don't be uptight. There's no judging, non-judgmental. So just enjoy your breath. Just come back home, to the home of your body, which is the breath, the bridge between your mind and your body, and gateway to your inner universe, the breath. So breathing in, you're aware that you're breathing in, and breathing out, you're aware that you're breathing out. If your thoughts have gone to the past, or they've gone to the future, gently bring your mind back to your breath, and just observe the breathing in and out. Okay, so now, if you're done with that, so now you have 3 breaths. So you close, like a closing of the pranayama with 3 long breaths. So now you breathe in and then you expand with a nice sound effect. So good. Good, isn't it? Yeah. So it is actually very good. So you see, you can be in absolute control of your life only if you know how to. Okay, so we are going to now talk about the topic that no one likes, but is so important. I fail to understand why we don't like the topic. Can anyone tell me? The topic of DEATH. I said it. Okay. So what is it? What is so intrinsically abhorrent about this topic that people find it so inauspicious, so 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 huh? So we are scared to face it. So what if I put it to you, I propose that instead of being afraid, why don't we conquer it? Because the Buddha, the historical Buddha, what drew me to the teachings of the Buddha is this very, very profound, that the Buddha said, I want to find a way, when he was a prince, I want to find a way to stop death. Then I thought it was ridiculous. How can anybody stop death? Can you stop death? Who can stop death? So because I thought that it was a given thing that you are going to born and then you are going to die. You're born, you die. For those of us who believe in the karma, cause and effect, and the rebirth process, yeah. So some spiritual traditions do not subscribe to it, but I will share from my spiritual tradition and my perspective as to why I found the Buddha's teachings very profound. Even though, let's just say that we don't want to talk about rebirth, whatever it is, but still, let us live our life so well that we die in peace. We die happily, right? So when the Buddha said that when Prince Siddhartha said, I can't, I must find a way out of this cycle of samsara. So now let me tell you a story about this Prince Siddhartha. I think everybody knows. But then again, for the benefit of those who do not know, for those who are new to the story of the life of Prince Siddhartha, who then became the Buddha. The prince was confined to a palace and given all the luxuries of life because there was a prophecy at the time of his birth that he would either become a universal monarch, Chakravarti Raja, or he would become a Buddha, which is he has to renounce his princely life and then go on to become a monk, and then after that practice and then become enlightened. A Buddha means the awakened one. So it's not his name. Buddha is not somebody's name. It's a title given to someone who has awakened from the sleep of ignorance, right? In Sanskrit, Buddha, someone who's awakened, with knowledge, Bodhi. So it's very important that we understand that. So the life of the Buddha, when the child was very small, his mother passed away at the age of 7 days, and when he became got the prophecy, when the father got the prophecy, so he ensured that the son will never become a monk. What are the conditions of becoming a monk? First thing is knowing that there is suffering, there is death, impermanence, aging, sickness. When you understand and you're so sick of the reality of life, you are sick not in the sense that that you're so fed up of going through it over and over again, that you want to find a way out. The father wanted to ensure that you will never find a way out if you don't know that it exists. So the father said, if he doesn't know death exists, if he doesn't know aging exists, if he doesn't know sickness exists, then there is nothing for him to escape. Right? So then the father was very happy. So he built palaces, winter, summer, whatever it is, and then each day the child would be just confined in the palace until such a time when the child grew up, became a young man, and then he saw the four sights. One fine day he left the palace on horseback with his charioteer Channa. So Channa actually brought him to the village. He said, I wanted to see my kingdom. My whole life I'm inside my palace. Let me see what's outside. I'm sure there's an outside room. So when he went outside, so the first day he saw an old man. Then the second trip outside of the palace, he saw someone who was sick, very, like leprosy, something like that, very sad. And then the third was a corpse, someone who had died, and he didn't understand. He asked Channa each time. He asked, "Will I become old?" When he saw the first sight, He said, yes, what is this? Actually, we asked first. Then he said, it's an old person. What's an old person? He didn't even get the concept of an old person. And he said, that, will I become old? Chana said, yes. Will my parents become old? Yes. Will my wife and son become old? Yes. My goodness. Then the second time, what is this? A sick person. What is the meaning of sickness? You know, there's something plagues your body and eats it up, you know, so it degenerates. Yeah, you can either recover or you don't. Yeah, so the sickness manifests in everybody. And then will I become sick too? Yes. Will my family become sick? Yes or no? And then the third one, death. What is this? It's a corpse. Will I die? Yes. Will my family die? That means I will lose my family, I will lose the ones that I love? Yes. Everybody who is born will eventually die, Chandan said. This was just too much for Siddhartha, it's just too much, yeah? So for someone who has never known death, suddenly coming and seeing death, you know, for the first time, can you imagine how painful it would have been? How shocking and how miserable? So he was so shaken up, and then for a few weeks he was, you know, very depressed, and then one fine day he was out for the fourth time, and then he saw a sannyasi, a hermit, a monk, you know, who was in deep meditation and he was in complete bliss and joy. He said, that is my way out of suffering. So that's the reason why Prince Siddhartha renounced his earthly life, worldly life, yeah, and then he renounced and became a monk. And then he practiced so hard until he became enlightened 6 years later. And the enlightenment is actually a symbol of cutting the cycle of birth, old age, sickness, and death. No more becoming anymore, no more being born, no more dying. So now, I like to quote Ajahn Chah, an enlightened Arahant of the 20th century who lived in northeast Thailand and the teacher of Ajahn Brahmavamsa. Ajahn Chah said, I always wonder why when somebody is born, everybody is, laughing, and then the child is crying. And then when the person is dead, dies, everybody cries, so it's like, why can't we should actually be crying when the child is born? Because when the child is born, the child says, oh no, not again, all over again, So that's why the child is crying. Some people say like this, yeah. So it's like, oh no, I've got to go to standard 1 all over again. I've got to go through everything all over again. This is too much suffering. So the child is crying. So Ajahn Chah said that, why can't we live life in this way, that we understand that the reason why you die is because you're born. If you're not born, if there's no birth, you don't die. Right? So when the Buddha became Buddha, Prince Siddhartha became a Buddha, so he cut that cycle of birth, old age, sickness, and death. No more becoming, no more birth. When there is no birth, there's no death. So then, isn't it true that then he has found the answer to deathlessness? Can we attain a state of deathlessness? Yes. By cutting the causes and conditions that make us born again and again and again. Well, this is from my spiritual tradition, Buddhism. For spiritual traditions who do not subscribe to, coming again and again, in this life also you can cut the causes and conditions for you to create this miserable circumstances that lead to our demise. Right? So we are all going to die. So let's make death a happy one, so that when we pass away, people also rejoice, we also rejoice. So because death is actually supposed to be, yes, we are done, over and done with, how many years, 100 years on this earth, it's not a very short time, it's actually quite a long time. I mean, relatively, so much of suffering, going through, the motions of life, pain, aging, sickness, depression, all these things, So, so life is full of obstacles. I'm not saying that you must invite death, no. Never ever resort to suicide, because we have Buddha nature inside us. So it is extremely heavy negative karma if we take our own lives. Let us live so well that when it comes the time when we pass away, we will pass away with great courage. So from the Tibetan Buddhist perspective, we are forever talking about death. You can say that the Tibetan people, Tibetan Buddhists are obsessed with death. Actually, we are not obsessed with death. We talk about death Because if you don't talk about that, we are preparing, whatever practices that we do in our daily lives is to prepare us for that inevitable moment where we are going to die. Isn't that your spiritual tradition also? That when you do good, you avoid evil, you purify the mind, you help other people, and also that you would have made your time here on earth a very fruitful one, so that when it comes for the time for you to say goodbye, so you say goodbye with no regrets. I've led a good life. Yeah. So I don't worry whether the angels are going to bring me to heaven, or the angel of death is going to drag me down to hell. That is no longer there in the mind if you have lived very well. Yeah. Okay. So now I'm going to introduce some. So we're going to do this practice. Yeah. So we take a few deep breaths and settle the mind. I want you to understand that the intention of Maranasati, the reflections on death, the mindfulness of death, is not to instill fear in you, but to make you understand. Yeah? If you live well, when it's time for us to go, and you know what? You don't get invitation cards, huh? So it's like Karma children, you're cordially invited to your death at a certain time and certain place, RSVP. So I said, I won't RSVP. Who's that? Messenger of death, RSVP. I won't get a chance to RSVP. First thing is, I will not know when I die or where I die. So there is no invitation. It's just like being invited to a party without invitation, and then suddenly you're like taken and like kidnapped. Basically, you're being kidnapped, you're being robbed, So it's like taken and put inside, and then boom, sent to somewhere else. Yeah. So now in this life, what's being kidnapped also is quite frightening, isn't it? You don't know where you're going to go, right? Can you imagine that suddenly you wake up the next morning, you're a different place already, gone, completely don't know where. No time to RSVP. Nothing. So you must be thinking that I'm quite a little bit off the trajectory in terms of my mind, but but let's talk about that in a joyful way. Why do we always have to cry and moan? Because if the more we cry, we are not going to, even if we cry and moan, we still have to go. Yeah, because those who are born must die. Yeah, okay. So we reflect on the Buddha's words of wisdom from the Majjhima Nikaya. The Buddha said you should live in the present moment. So if you can live in the present moment, like we taught just now, when you're living in the present moment, breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in, breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out, leave the past behind, leave the future, don't worry about it. Then you are building that confidence daily. And at the time of death, since you're already so accustomed to living in the present moment, nothing can shake you. Even though you get kidnapped or what, so it doesn't matter. It's just a continuation of my being in the present moment. I don't care whether I'm in Samani or I'm in hell or wherever it is, I am in my present moment, and that's all that matters. So wherever I go, it's not my external circumstances that determine my happiness. It is my internal circumstances, my inner universe that determines my happiness. Yeah? So now, the 4 sights that the Prince Siddhartha led to his quest for liberation. So this story teaches us actually the one I talked about, contemplating aging, sickness, and death. And this story is very important because it actually awakens a sense of urgency in us. And in Pali we call it samvega. Without a sense of urgency, no one will practice the Dharma. No one will turn to God, or no one will turn to spirituality. Everybody will just live their life as if there's plenty of time, right? So we know there are no invitations here, so it's just time to go. Off we go. That's it. And there's also a story I wanted to tell you before we actually do the actual practice. There was once a mother and a child during the time of the Buddha. Her name was Kisa Gautami. Kisa Gautami, she lost her baby, right? And then what she did was she was going around, and wailing, and then say, somebody bring my baby back to life, bring my baby back to life. And then there was some village people, and then they told her, she was so hysterical, she was uncontrollable. inconsolable. So then they suggested that she go and see the Buddha. If there's anyone on this earth who can revive your son, it would definitely be the Buddha. So she went. When the Buddha saw her coming, and then he asked her, sister, what's wrong? And then she said, I lost my baby, and I was told that you would help to revive my child. Can you bring my child back to life? The Buddha said, yes, of course I can do. But on one condition. You bring a mustard seed from a house that has never experienced death. So she was so happy. He said, remember, it won't work unless the seed comes from a house that has never experienced death. So she went around knocking the household, the entire village, First she thought that it's the easiest thing to do. Mustard seed, a handful of mustard seeds is all that is needed to revive the child. But that disclaimer is the whole point of the story. She went knocking from one door to another door. So first door, there was one man ready to give her the seed. He was really ready to give her an entire sack full of mustard seeds. She said, I just need a pinch, of mustard seeds, just a handful. And then he asked her, why do you need that? She said, just give me the mustard seed. And then she said, oh, wait a minute. Has anybody ever died in your house? He said, what can I tell you, my sister? My mother just passed away last week. And she said, oh, then I can't take your mustard seed. So she went to another house, and then went to the next house. She saw a lady dressed in white. And in the Indian tradition, when you're dressed in a white sari, it means that the person is a widow. So obviously her husband died, so that somebody has died. And then she went to every house, In the third house, there was actually a funeral going on. Then, but at the end of the day, by the evening, she was so tired, and it slowly dawned on her that everybody who was born will have to die, and there is no household that has never experienced death. So she went and cremated her baby, and then she went back to the Buddha, and then she just fell in front of the Buddha. She said, I now understand what you mean. He said, my sister, if I had told you at that time, that life is impermanent, death is normal, would you have listened to me? She said, no. But she said, now you understand that whoever who is born will have to die. So then she said yes, and then she was ordained, she became a bhikkhuni, and she became enlightened. She became a bhikkhuni arahant, one of the foremost arahants, and her story is entrenched in the Therigatha of the Buddhist canon. So it's a very important story. So now you understand. So don't think of death as something which is only coming to you or your family. It comes to everyone. And the Buddha said that if you are going to talk about death to somebody, and the reality of life, nobody will listen unless you have direct realization about the futility of bringing somebody back to life. Yeah? Okay, so now we start. I'm going to give you some suggestions, and you are going to contemplate. Yeah? So we start with awareness of the breath. So close your eyes, breathe in and breathe out. Breathing in, I'm aware that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm aware that I'm breathing out. So now, understand that death is certain. The time of death is uncertain. Please contemplate. I could die today. This very hour, this very moment. So now, what I want you to do, notice how this truth feels in your body and mind. Okay? I repeat, I could die today. It's a very powerful meditation practice, so please be very well prepared. I could die today. Why today? I could die this very hour. Why this very hour? I could even die right this moment. So please go into meditation position and contemplate. Notice how this truth feels in your body and mind. What is truly important if death could come at any moment? I would like you to look at the priorities in your life. Yeah? So think that if I were to die right now, how would it feel like in my body and my mind? Fear, anxiety, think, yeah? And feel, contemplate. So the Buddha encouraged us to contemplate. So you please close your eyes and contemplate only. The Buddha said of all footprints, That of the elephant is supreme. Similarly, of all mindfulness meditations, that on death is supreme. So this comes from the Anguttara Nikaya. So begin now by contemplating that death can come from many causes. Death can come through illness. So take some time to understand, to reflect on people around you who have passed away from illness, and then think that you too, we are of the nature of becoming sick. People, every day we read in the newspapers, watch on the news, or even we have witnessed it in our own experience, through accidents, through aging, through unexpected events. Recent plane crashes would come to mind, natural disasters, earthquakes. So in the last 1 month we have had 3 major plane crashes in the world. So we also bring in mind, all our fellow human beings and our fellow sentient beings. Every day, thousands of animals are killed for our food. Millions, in fact. That is also death. We are robbing somebody's life away. So reflect on the truth. No one has escaped death. Do you know anybody who has... So the Buddha said you can go to the mountain, you can go under the sea, into the air, wherever, you can never escape death. Go into the caves and hide behind a rock. Seal yourself under, in a cascade somewhere. Seal your tomb and stay there forever. But death will still come to you. So no one has escaped death. And at the time of our death, so just continue, let it flow as I read the contemplation. At the time of death, nothing can help except our spiritual practice, our Dhamma practice. So think here, old age, sickness, accidents, unexpected events, no one can escape. Whether you're young, you're old, there's no fixed timing, no fixed contract that you will live this certain number of years, that you won't be robbed in your mother's womb, that when you come out you will be alive, that you will reach puberty, that you will get married. There's no guarantee that you will grow old, get to see your children or grandchildren, no guarantee. So you say. So we have traditional 5 remembrances from the Buddhist canon. So I'm going to select these phrases for Anguttara Nikaya 5.57. Tell yourself, I'm subject to aging, and deeply feel. We have those apps, that can make you look older or younger, isn't it? So you download one of those, and then you see what you look like when you're old. Or if your imagination is very good, try to project and see what you look like when you're old, how your body will feel like, the skin, the bones, the strength. Think, And if you're already aging, if you're already, if we are considered as senior citizens, think back to the time of your youth and look at your own condition now. And so that's aging, What you could do last time, you can't do now. The strength is diminishing. The eyesight is weakening. The body is becoming fragile, weaker, smaller. So the earth element is fading away. So understand this, don't be afraid. For this is the highest truth, the deepest, most profound understanding. Don't run away from this, Challenge yourself to sit and go through this without fear. Tell yourself, I'm subject to aging, I'm subject to illness. I'm subject to illness. We have all been ill before, but fortunately we have survived. COVID, many others didn't. We've survived influenza A, we've survived pneumonia, we've survived many things. Accidents. What if we didn't survive? How would that feel like? Tell yourself, I'm subject to death. I'm subject to aging. I'm subject to illness. I'm subject to death. I must be separated from all that is dear. I will be separated from all that is dear. I will be separated from all that is dear. One day I have to leave everything and go empty-handed. I can't take as much as a needle to the next life. And you tell yourself, I am the owner of my karma. My deeds are the only true possessions that I have. At the time of death, I bring only my consciousness, or in some spiritual traditions you say your soul, and my deeds, good and bad, white and black seeds. This is the only inheritance that I carry, not my parents' property, not my own property, nothing. I don't carry my name. I don't carry my title. I don't carry my house, my car, my family, my loved ones. I can't bring anyone onto the journey. It's mine and mine alone. So still stay in meditation. So I will tell you another story of King Prasenajit. He was the king of Shravasti during the time of historical Buddha, or Savatthi in Pali. So from the Sutta Nipata, the Buddha thought that King Prasenajit, he taught him to reflect like this, daily. Age and death roll on. And ask us to look at what good deeds have I done today. So now it's towards the end of the day. It's already the evening now. What have I done for my practice? What have I done? What good deeds did I do? Just look at the good, And then now you think what not so good deeds that I have done. And what I have done for my practice. Did I do anything to spiritually elevate myself and be of benefit to others? Or did I lead a very selfish life the whole day today? Every day when you wake up, you reflect like this. Age and death roll on. What good deeds have I done today? What have I done for my practice? So continue meditation. I will ask you a few more questions. So now, what if I had only 1 year to live? Suppose you go into the doctor's room, you get your blood test results, and then your doctor tells you, my dear brother or sister, I'm afraid to tell you that I'm sorry to say, or I regret to inform you, that time your heart will sink. That that you only have 1 year to live. So please feel how so many people have been told this, maybe today, maybe yesterday, maybe last month, maybe last year, and maybe tomorrow somebody will find out from their doctors. Doctor will tell you, you only have 1 year to live. Now feel in your body and mind how your body and mind is responding now. Ground yourself, take refuge in your spiritual gurus, but be brave and go through this meditation without fear. Ask yourself, what if I only had 1 month to live? Maybe the doctor's diagnosis is not correct. It is more serious than it actually is. only 1 month to live instead of 1 year. How will that feel? And for each question I ask you, you need to note what arises in your mind and what feels important. If you have 1 year to live, what would matter to you? What will be important? The things that you take for granted now, or the things that we feel so important now, will it be important if you only had 1 year to live? And what loses importance? So if I only had 1 year to live, how would that affect my body and my mind? And how will it change my life? What would matter now? What wouldn't matter anymore? What if I only had 1 month to live? What if I only had 1 day to live? Think, yeah? All those enmities that we have, all these grudges, vengeful thoughts, plans, excessive 10 to 50, 100-year plans that we have, will it matter? If you only had 1 day to live, whom would you want to spend it with? How would you want to spend that 1 day? What will be important? Forgiveness? Loving people or hating people? Complaining or gratitude? Think, feel. I only have. What if I told you the next second you're going to go? What will you do? What will your last thought be? Suppose something comes crashing down on us, and only one more breath left. What will your last thought be? Will your last thought be for the benefit of all living beings? Or will your last thought be something which is harmful for you or beneficial for you? Will you have your only last thought? And from Buddhism, we say that our last thought is very important. When we are passing away, the last thought is so important, because the last thought is the one that will decide where we will go next. If it is a thought of greed, then it will have an unfavorable, unwholesome rebirth. If it is a thought of hatred, even worse, very unwholesome. If it's a thought of loving kindness, compassion, forgiveness, gratitude, then favorable rebirth. So think, even that one last moment also, if suddenly something comes and you know, oh my goodness, you only have 3 seconds, before you come crashing, what would the 3 seconds be? Forgiveness, ask for forgiveness, or you blame somebody else. Oh my goodness, look, somebody forgot to service the plane. What will you do? Yeah. So you see, the things that are important to us now will cease to be important when we realize that our mortality is near, our death is imminent. Yes, no? Want to continue? Also scared already. Powerful? There are a lot more. Yeah? So you want to play along? Want to do this? Or you want to press the exit button and go back to samsara? And then hope and pray death doesn't come to you. Well, anyway, okay. So now, there are some specific contemplations. Anguttara Nikaya is full of contemplations on death. Anyway, and the whole of Buddhism, we are very famous for talking about death and dying. But that doesn't mean that we are talking about it in a negative way. We're talking about it in a way to create a sense of urgency for us to practice. Yeah? So now, just as the dew drops, at the tip of the blade of grass, quickly vanishes with the rising sun and do not last long, in the same way, human life is like a dewdrop. So close your eyes and meditate. Think of your life as like a dewdrop. The dewdrop on the blade of grass evaporates, vanishes the moment the rising sun, touches it. Our human life is just like a dewdrop. It is short, limited, brief, full of suffering and troubles. Yet we cling to life as if it's permanent. Yet we harm others and ourselves. So nature understands. The blade of grass knows. The grass doesn't cry when the dewdrop goes away. The grass is like the relative, the ones that are left behind, and the dewdrop is like us. The dewdrop doesn't cry. The dewdrop knows that once I cease to be in the form of a dew, I rise up and I'm in the form of a vapor. Then later I come down as rain and I benefit others. Then the fields will turn green, and the fruit trees will start fruiting. The flowers will come, the flowering plants. So we change form. So my teacher, Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh, he said, observe the leaves on the trees. So when a tree, it has very old leaves, and the leaves wither, and then the leaf just naturally falls off the branch, and it lands on the ground, and then it gets merged into the ground, and goes back and becomes the earth element. You don't see the leaf screaming, and clinging on to the branch. No, save me! I don't want to go down. The leaf accepts the law of nature. The leaf just goes on. Have you ever heard leaves screaming? It's like so silly, but it's just us who scream. Yeah? Even animals do not scream. They accept because they are in the balance. They live in the natural balance and the natural order of life. The niyamas we have. So we have the natural law of the seed, the natural law of the karma, So we have natural laws, and we live within those laws, the hukam, the law of nature. So just understand that, one fine day when we pass away, let us be like that leaf on the tree, just accepting, and naturally it just accepts its role. It will transform into its foliage will transform into carbon matter, and then it will again come back as the tree, fruit, and life goes on. So the tree, the leaf doesn't have its own selfish existence. It exists in harmony with everything else, and it is part of the universe. We think that we are separate, that's why we are suffering, but the leaf knows it's part of nature. The dew knows it's part of nature. It doesn't cry when it evaporates. It knows it will transform and change form. But we cry, because we don't want to change form. This form is, we are attached to this body, so that's why we don't want to let go, and we don't want to transform. We don't want to, we don't want our 5 elements to go back to earth. We don't want our consciousness, to leave this precious body of ours. That's ridiculous. We have to live, So why don't we live properly? So let me tell you another story of Bhattacharya. So Bhattacharya was this bhikkhuni. She was actually, before she became a bhikkhuni. Bhikkhuni is actually a female, a monastic, in the Buddhist tradition, fully ordained nun. Bhattacharya's story is very, very frightening. In the recent plane crash that we have seen, people have lost entire families, very tragic. So Bhattacharya's story is the same. She, when she was married, her husband, when she was supposed to go back to her parents' house to give birth, but her husband said, no, you stay here. I won't allow you because we don't have the conditions to go back. So when she gave birth to her first son, she did not go back to her mother's house as per Indian custom. And then second son also, she gave birth, she did not go back to her mother's place for a maternity, leave and all these things to give birth as per Indian custom. So after her child was about a few months old, the second son, and then the first son was about 2 or 3, he was a toddler, she begged the husband, can we go now? He said, okay, now conditions are right, we shall go and visit your parents. So on the way, they had to cross a river bank. They were at the river bank, they had to cross a river. And then it was late at night already, it was getting dark, so they said, let us not cross the river now, let us wait. So the husband went to find firewood in order for them to make fire. But he never came back. 1 hour, 2 hours. Then Patachara was wondering why the husband didn't come back. So she went looking for him and she left the two little boys at the bank, the river bank. When she went to look for him, she saw that he was already blue, lifeless on the ground. He had been bitten by a snake. Oh, she started to wail. But then she said, oh no. And she suddenly realized she had two children at the river bank. She can't cremate the body also because, she was also, one person is very difficult to do, so she had no choice but to go back to the children. And then it started, then she said, I don't want to stay at this part of the bank, Let me just quickly go to my mom's house now. So she brought her, so she said, okay, she will take the baby and she will leave the boy, the toddler, on one side of the bank. So she took the baby first and then she put it at the other side of the river. She managed to cross, and then as she was coming back, then she saw that an eagle had come and it was taking the baby away, the one that she had left on the other side of the bank. And then she was trying to chase the eagle when her son, the other boy, thought that the mother was calling him. So the 3-year-old entered into the river before the mother could come and get him, and the little infant was being taken away by the eagle. So the infant died, and then at that time it started raining heavily and the river swelled, and the 3-year-old child entered the river. He thought the mother was asking him to come, and he drowned. Seeing this, she was almost half mad, so she quickly tried to save herself and went across the river. When she went across the river, she went back to her house, her parents' house, after a long time, ever since marriage. And when she went there, she was horrified to see a crowd. She said, what happened? There was a crowd there. And then when she looked through the crowd, she was horrified to see that her entire house had burned down. Her parents, her siblings, and the livestock of her parents were quite rich. Everybody gone. In one day, she lost her husband, her toddler son, her infant son, her parents, brothers, sisters, livestock, everybody gone. She became mad. She tore off her clothes and she started wandering around like a vagabond. And then suddenly, and she met one monk. The monk put, some clothes on her and then brought her to see the Buddha. She was so hysterical. And then when she met the Buddha, then the Buddha gave her some spiritual instructions about death and impermanence. And then after that, he ordained her as a bhikkhuni. And then she became enlightened and she became one of the 13 foremost bhikkhunis, Bhattacharya also. Yeah? So very interesting. So can you see all these tragic circumstances, the Kisa Gautami and her child that she wanted to revive, and Patachara, whose entire family died. Did she die together? Was that the end of the world? When someone dies? No. With the correct guidance and with the correct reflection on our mortality, on the very reason that we are here and the inevitability of death, you can use it as a spiritual transformation, and that is what Bhattacharya and Kisa Gautami did. Yeah? So we will move on. So now, there was a monk, yeah? So this is another story about the Buddha. When it talk about why it's important to practice death meditation. So the Buddha said, a monk approached the Buddha, saying he practiced death meditation, okay? So you are also practicing death meditation now, Maranasati. So Buddha asked, okay, how are you practicing? So the monk said, I practice like this. May I live for a day and night to practice the Buddha's teachings. Okay? Then the Buddha said, this is not the correct practice. You're living heedlessly. Heedless, not mindful. This is not a very mindful way of living. Then the monk also was quite confused. Then another monk said, may I live for the time it takes to eat a meal. Then the Buddha said, this time also you're not mindful. No, not much understanding. And then another monk, and the Buddha asked, what is your practice? How are you practicing? So he said, we are practicing Maranasati in a way that for the time it takes to swallow 4 or 5 mouthfuls. The Buddha said, this is also not good practice. Then finally the 4th monk said, may I live for the time it takes to breathe in and after breathing out, or to breathe out after breathing in. And the Buddha said, this last monk is the one who is living heedlessly. You understand? So the first monk said plenty of time, one whole day and night to practice. Buddha said no time, don't. That is being, foolish. Number two, the time it takes to eat a meal, that also is not guaranteed, right? The third one, merely for the time it takes to swallow 4 or 5 mouths. We don't even have that, we can just go off right now. So the fourth monk living in the present moment. The others are living, like as if there's plenty of time before. But the fourth monk is the correct practice, because he said, I am living in the present moment. Breathe in, breathe out. Don't know whether when I breathe in, I will ever breathe out again. Buddha said, that's the correct practice. Okay? So now, again, return to your breath. Return to your breath. Okay? So we have some advertisement breaks here in between. So, so now we will do Milarepa's meditation. So we have finished the meditation reflections from the Pali Canon, which is Theravada Buddhism. Now we go into some reflections from the Tibetan Buddhism perspective. So we call this next meditation Milarepa's 3 Laughters meditation. Why 3 laughters? Now again, there is a story. Yeah, without story you cannot understand and you will feel bored. So story is good. It's good to it. Yeah. Do you like my story? Even if you don't like, you will have to like it. Yeah, because I'm going to say it anyway. So, okay. So one day, disciples found Milarepa laughing loudly in his cave, and this is very uncharacteristic of a, yogi, and he was actually our most beloved saint of Tibet. Yeah, enlightened, very, very highly enlightened, realized being. Yeah. So, and he was laughing loudly in his cave. So strange, isn't it? So when the disciples asked, Milarepa, what happened? What happened? They said, why? So then Milarepa said, I'll tell you why. He said, I laugh at 3 kinds of foolishness in this world. So then the disciples said, what kind of foolishness? Then Milarepa answered, people spend their whole lives amassing wealth and possessions. Yeah? But when death comes, they must go empty-handed. Yeah. Like children building sand castles. I'm sure everybody has been to the beach. You build a sand castle. Will the sand castle be there tomorrow morning? Maybe it won't be there in the next 10 seconds also, isn't it? Yeah? So, but then again, we are collecting our possessions like that. So that's the first laughter. The second one, and I'm also guilty of that. Yeah. So number 2, people build strong houses and fortify them against enemies. See the alarm here? So people build strong houses and fortify them against enemies, but at death they must leave for the intermediate state without even their body. It is like a bird abandoning its nest, never to return. So we are spending our entire time on possessions, making our bodies look good, etc. Yeah, we can't take our body, we cannot take our house, right? It's like a bird abandoning its nest. The third laughter, the third reason, is because Milarepa said people harbor hatred and resentment towards enemies, but at death they must leave all these enemies behind also. Suppose you can take your enemy with you, which no one wants to anyway. Let's suppose we can't take our spouse, our family members, our children, and nothing, right? So we cannot take our enemies, which is thank goodness for that, yeah. But then again, enemy is just relative in the mind, right? So now the Buddha said, those of us who harbor resentment, that this person is my enemy, and then attachment, this person is my friend. He said that they must leave even their enemies behind. So their anger are poisons for their own mind. So you are not going to take your enemy with you to death. So why you worry? Why you have so much resentment and anger in this life? Because it's like eating poison and then expecting the other person to die. Yeah. So very profound, very, very profound, very important for all of us, and myself included. Right? Yeah. So you get it? So now you understand 3 laughter meditation. So now let's try to understand this. Yeah? So now how you're going to visualize is like this. Can you please close your eyes? So if I died today, right now, would any of this matter or not? My house, that I fortify, all these possessions and all. is when feeling anger, contemplate, is this worth carrying to death? And when we accumulate possessions, can I take this with me? So maybe cut down a little bit on the consumables. So now sit very comfortably, put a smile on your face, take 3 deep breaths. And then in the Tibetan tradition, we say we generate bodhicitta. Bodhicitta means we generate this thought that I'm going to do this meditation not for myself alone, but for the benefit of all living beings, because everyone is suffering. So whatever good that I do, I'm doing now, is not only for myself, but I'm doing it for everyone, for all living beings, because everyone is suffering, is in the same boat as I am, and everyone will die. How painful, my goodness. So I'm going to practice for all, for all living beings. So now the first one, possessions. Visualize your most cherished possession. Whether it is somebody whether it is a human being, a pet, or something, some goods, Please visualize someone most precious to you, or the most precious possession. Maybe you might have a diamond ring that you are so attached to. Or your spouse, your children, your cat, dog, so precious to you. That most precious one, please evoke in your mind. Visualize your most cherished possessions. Right, once they are very, very concrete in front of your mind, now we start dissolving them into space. Frightening? It's like they're turning into sand, and then they're just dissolving into space. So please do this meditation. Very, very important. Your most cherished possession, the one that you are most attached to, or the thing that you're most attached to, that's the most cherished one. And you can't live without him or her or that item. And then you visualize it dissolving into space. So feel what's going on. You must now be in close contact with your feelings, your body sensations. You will feel that profound sense of loss and that resistance. Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. You're resisting. You don't want to dissolve them. You're scared. They dissolve. You no longer have them, isn't it? I'm sure that is happening in the mind. You don't want to dissolve them, but you must dissolve it, because one fine day they will be dissolved anyway. They're going back into the 5 elements, and that's it. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. So before it happens in real life, visualize it, that they disappear, dissolve into space. And then at that particular time, feel what is happening in your body, how you're resisting, whether you're strong, clinging and grasping. You can feel it from your chest. Grasping, oh no, don't dissolve. Oh. Gone. So you must be in touch with your body and mind. Feel the sensations, the pain, the profound sense of loss, that insecurity, that feel, my goodness, I've dissolved them, and dissolve them, really dissolve, and feel that they're gone. Impermanent, transient, transitory, all in a state of flux, gone. And feel what remains when they are gone. And this is not an exercise to scare you. This is an exercise to liberate you from your attachment. And once you dissolve it, you rest in that natural space, that vast expanse of space and that emptiness. For those of you who know the concept of emptiness, everything arises depending on causes and conditions. There is no concrete existence for anything. So everything is empty of inherent nature. So you dissolve everything And in Tibetan we call it dissolving into Dharmakaya. Everything you dissolve. And then you rest in that natural space. So if you have lost a loved one, and you are still, until today, you are still so attached and so sad, I recommend this practice. Let go, yeah? So for those who have already passed on and you feel that you're always evoking them, thinking about them is fine, but can't live without them, and having some strange thoughts of joining them, please be very careful. Understand that they're just 5 elements. Yeah? And that so much of pain you transform into a positive experience of being in the absolute reality of emptiness. So dissolve them. Yeah? So next, visualize your home and your safe space. So the first one was about the possessions. That's the first laughter. Now the second laughter is about your safe space, the so-called safe space, with the alarm and the tall gates and Alcatraz iron grills, security mesh. Yeah? Okay. So visualize your home and safe space. And then now, next thing watch them fade like a dream. It's like, bye-bye, the dream gone, the safe space is going, gone. So initially you will have resistance, probably, fear, clinging, trying to bring it back, maybe. But please participate and meaningfully visualize the house like a dream, and the dream fades away and you wake up from the slumber. It was all just a dream. And experience the freedom of non-attachment. Rest in groundless awareness. So meaning that it's just like when you wake up in the morning from a nightmare, So you wake up, or you wake up from a dream. It was nice to have that house or whatever it is in the dream. You wake up, well, it's time to move on, yeah? It's a new day. So it was just a dream, and then you rest in that vast expanse of your mind. Rest in groundless awareness. Okay? So it was just a dream. This house is just a dream. Your safe space is just a dream. And then try to understand and experience the non-attachment to your house. And experience the freedom of detachment, non-attachment. Free your mind from clinging to this house or your own house, your own safe space, wherever it may be. And then you rest in that groundless awareness. So now we go to the third contemplation, which is corresponds to the third laughter of Milarepa. He said you can't even bring your enemies with you, isn't it? So why have enemies? So now bring to mind difficult relationships. I wouldn't say enemies. Maybe some people may just be a bit difficult. Yeah. So bring to mind those difficult relationships. Can we do that? Okay. So once again, we go into meditation posture. Those very difficult relationships that causes a lot of pain. Difficult relationship, that means cause a lot of pain, fear. Maybe you're afraid of being harmed. That person has harmed you before, or you just simply don't like the face. Just, I don't know, yeah? Somebody difficult. So you see both yourself, you also visualize yourself, and then you visualize the enemy, so-called enemy in front of you, And both of you visualize as temporary appearances, like a mirage, like an apparition, like a hologram. You know, you could say ghostly, like an apparition. You just visualize, lacking in any substance, lacking in reality. And then you let the resentments dissolve into emptiness, into the vast expanse. You release that resentment. So for all the pain and suffering and the grudges that you're keeping, everything, just dissolve it into space. For the enemy doesn't truly exist, and neither do we. We are all but temporary, just like apparitions, like a hologram. There's no concrete reality. It's all mind-made, and therefore release into the vast expanse of space. Let resentments dissolve into emptiness, and you rest in your natural awareness. Nice. Okay. It's just, I have to introduce you to the technique. Do you like it? Yeah. It's liberating, isn't it? Because you understand that they are not permanent, and neither are you. Can't take them with me, so better reconcile. And how to reconcile? If you can't reconcile directly because the person is too difficult, try the third laughter method. So you think of them as just an apparition, and you yourself are exactly the same in terms of materiality and mentality also. Then you dissolve. Yeah. Okay. So all these resentments dissolve into emptiness, and you rest in your natural space. And then, of course, you have to dedicate your merits later. Yeah. So remember to resolve, make a resolution now to remember these insights in daily life. There's no point coming to the meditation class, right? And then after that, you just forget everything. You must have something that you take away from this class, right? Now, there's another meditation from the Tibetan tradition called the 4 thoughts that turn the mind. This is from Gampopa. Gampopa was Milarepa's disciple. So just now was the guru, and now is the shishya, the student. Okay? So Gampopa also had a lot of, he lost his wife, his children, and after that he was so miserable, he renounced and became a monk, and he became a very, very great scholar practitioner. Very great one. Yeah, his biography is available online, you can read it. Very interesting. So it is he found his teacher Milarepa. Yeah, and then later on he started teaching people this the futility of many things in life. So let's look at the first futility. So he said the 4 thoughts that turn the mind away from samsara, meaning that you need to reflect on each of these thoughts in order to create that sense of urgency for you as a fuel for your spiritual practice. So now, go back into meditation posture again. Okay, I want you to listen to Gampopa's teaching. So Gampopa said, okay, number 1, the first reflection, a wealthy merchant, a trader, realized that his riches were meaningless when his son died. So his only son, only child, only son, the one who was to inherit his property, his fortune, very wealthy merchant, the only son died. Then he realized the worthlessness of his property, his fortune, meaningless. And the second, a king understood his power was temporary when disease struck him, when he became ill. Then his notion of absolute power, being a great monarch, his illusion. He was under the illusion that he had great power until disease struck. That's the second. The third one, a beautiful youth grasped impermanence when looking at an old person's reflection. So when the person looked at the old person's reflection, finally the youth who was very vain realized that, oh my goodness, I too will become old like this. There are times when you don't realize, certain things, but certain things suddenly happen, and that happened when he looked at an image of an old man in a mirror. And suddenly his, concept of permanence just went down the drain. And he understood impermanence. And the fourth, a scholar. Nowadays, in this age and time, everybody is very clever, isn't it? We're all scholars, academics, so we tend to be a little bit, proud of our achievements, our knowledge, etc. So let's listen to what this scholar had to, what kind of experience he had. A scholar recognized the futility of mere knowledge when facing death. So when death comes, the knowledge, the worldly knowledge, is nothing compared to the spiritual realization, if only one had it. So if one doesn't have spiritual realization, direct experience about the reality of life, nothing from the books is going to help you at the time of death. And the scholar experienced that. Shame, isn't it? So we have to balance, we can be scholars, no one says that we've got to stop studying, but also we must balance it with our spiritual practice. So the first contemplation, death is certain. So now contemplate that no one has escaped death. And then in certain traditions, we say, I'm not sure whether this is true or not. Yeah, maybe some, my teachers, I should have asked them. But anyway, it is said that we have finite breaths. We come into this world with a certain number of breaths. So when we get angry, that breath, and we breathe very fast, we're actually using up that breath. When very sad also, crying, using up that breath. And wasting time, not being mindful in the present moment, also wasting the breath. So we have a finite number of breaths. So please, you contemplate that your lifespan is decreasing constantly. So please go back into meditation mode. So the first understanding is that no one has ever escaped death. Do you know anybody who actually was, he went up to KLCC, or was transported to the moon or Mars or Venus or wherever, and then say that yes, this is the place where I have escaped death, or a particular cave, the deathless cave, in Semenye, somewhere in the corner of my house. You can go there and then you will be safe from death. I don't know. There isn't any such place. So your lifespan is decreasing constantly. Your breaths are reducing, just like the hourglass. If you look at an hourglass, you will understand how your life is diminishing. But very little time is actually spent practicing. We say practicing the Dharma in Buddhism. With other spiritual traditions, we have other names for your spiritual practice. Now we know we are going to die. We know no one else has ever escaped death before. We know that that death is approaching, and yet we don't want to practice. Feel it from your bones, the irony of this situation. Feel. The purpose is to instill a sense of urgency for Dharma practice. Others have passed away. Death has hit the household, death has hit the faculty, death has hit the department. Yet we don't want to practice. Okay? And also think, many die young. Plane crashes, old, young, anywhere. Floods, earthquakes. So it's just like when there is a storm. My teacher's reflection, Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh, he said, once he was looking out the window after a storm. When the storm came, a very, very terrible storm, the storm came and it sort of knocked out the leaves from the tree. And the next day when he went into his garden for his morning mindful walk, he saw not only old leaves on the ground. The day before that he used to see only the old leaves on the ground, the brown, the red, the crispy leaves, all. That morning he was so saddened to see even baby leaves on the ground, very fresh green. They were just sprouting, and off they went and fell down to the ground because there was a terrible storm that night. And immediately my teacher got the realization that you can die anytime. You don't have to be old to die. You know, it's so beautiful, I think. Yeah. So the causes of death are numerous, and the body is so fragile, just like the beautiful small little leaf, you know, the just budding, so fragile and went, gone. Yeah? And then the third contemplation. So, you know, has anybody ever been able to bribe the Lord of Death, or you know somebody in the Department of Death and Border Control, you know, where you can bribe the official to give you a visa, you know, or an extension or a special pass to stay here longer, or to be a permanent resident of this world. Is there such a Department of Death and the immigration death officials where you could bribe them? Because in life we bribe. Yeah, everywhere we go nowadays, everybody is bribing, here, there, everywhere. Human trafficking going on and all. Yes, it's very good. It's only good for this life. Yeah. But in the next life, you cannot bribe anyone to delay your death. When it comes, you have to go, right? So no matter how much money you have, whether you're a king or a pauper, your wealth will not help you. Your family will not follow. Please think. Imagine that you are on the deathbed now, and then you ask from somebody had 4 wives. You ask the first wife whether you want to follow me to death or not. I cannot follow you. He said, I don't want. But the first wife was his like. The four wives. The fourth wife was the youngest wife. Third wife, third youngest. Second wife, second youngest. First wife, longest and oldest. So he's told the fourth wife, because he was, he forgot the old wife already. So the fourth wife, he said, can you come with me, Death? I'm so scared, I don't want to die alone. She said, no, I won't come with you. I'm only here only until your deathbed. After that, you go. Then the third wife, he said, can you come with me? Then he said, no, I will go only, until, your wake. After that, no. Then he looked at then he was so disappointed because he loved the 2 youngest ones the most. And then the second wife, he said, my dear, I've neglected you, but can you follow me to the afterlife? Then the second wife said, no, I'll follow you until the cremation ground or the burial ground. After that, I cannot follow you. Then after that, he looked at the first wife, the oldest and the most neglected, and the one he loved, he didn't love at all. He didn't care. He said, will you go? She said, yes, I'll go with you. So do you know who are these 4 wives? So the first wife is your name, your fame, right? Your possessions, etc. Yeah, name, fame, and then second is your possessions. The third wife, possessions. Then the second wife is your family and friends, right? And then the fourth wife, the first wife the fourth one who agreed to go with him, is his karma. That's the only one your deeds can go with you, yeah? Okay. So now, friends cannot follow. Even your body is left behind. Oh yeah, the first one is your body and your title, your possessions. Your title and everything. The second is your possession. Third, family. Fourth, karma. Yeah. So now, this is very important. The last meditation technique. This comes from Asanga. Asanga also was a disciple. He took teachings from Maitreya, Maitreya's student. So Asanga was also a very great master in the Mahayana tradition, especially Tibetan tradition. We really cherish Asanga. There's so many stories about Asanga, but I got no time to tell you. But anyway, just this much. So we look at outer impermanence. Go back into meditation mode, right? Oh no. Open the curtain, somebody, please. Thank you, sister. Can you see the clouds? So now let's just look at the clouds for 1 minute and watch them dissolve. So that is, and then you observe the changing light. Yeah, so the light is changing. Just now when you came in the afternoon, the light was very high in the sky. Now the light is waning. The sun is setting. Can you see? right? Can you notice the sounds? The sounds come, the sounds go, whatever sound that you have. Do you notice that? That is called outer impermanence. Now go back into yourself, don't look outside. You can use the clouds you've seen, they change. The light also, after 5 minutes you check again, the light will be dimmer, right? Because it's sunset. Now you go back inside. Feel your breath changing. Breathing in, a breath, I'm aware, I'm breathing in, breathing out, I'm aware. And then you will notice your thoughts arising and disappearing. And then you notice your sensations also. Sometimes pain, sometimes no, sometimes sleepy, sometimes no, right? Sometimes headache, sometimes no, sometimes thirsty, sometimes no. So this is called the inner impermanence. Okay? And the next one, relationships. Recall past relationships. Sometimes, you had very good family relation and some maybe not so close anymore. Or maybe not close and now you're very close. And then some friends, you were so close before and then suddenly they drifted away. And some turned against you and started to harm you and become so-called enemies. So look at how past relationships change. Yeah? So brothers and sisters also, the relationships change. Between siblings, between spouses also. Last time I love you, you love me now. Divorce in the court, custody battle. Sad. Yeah. What happened to I love you, you love me? Yeah? No more love? So, okay. Right. So, see how your feelings have changed. I'm sure you have those kinds of relationships where things have changed. Yeah? So, accept your current relationship's nature. And then, now, we are doing something which at the time of death will happen to you, yeah? And this is called reviewing your life stages. At the moment of death, your entire life will come back to you like a movie, So it's like now we are live streaming, right? Your movie of life is going on live streaming, right? No rewinding and fast forwarding. So once you reach the end, at the end point, suddenly you realize that, hey, I can actually rewind. So you go back on YouTube, you rewind. So when you rewind, suddenly you get to see from your birth until, and then your toddler, going to school, your university, marriage, children, relationships, etc. Or whatever, if you live that long. It will start to replay again. Yes, no? Yeah. So you notice how your identity has changed. Your life stages, yeah? First you were a baby, then a toddler, so helpless. Then you went to school, preschool, elementary school, junior high, high school, secondary school, whatever, university, whatever. Whether you went or didn't go, whatever, doesn't matter. All the different stages in life. Notice your face, how it has changed, your hair color. So, in the same way, accept any future change. Learn how to accept that if this has already happened, all these different things, tomorrow death can happen, something worse can happen also. Just be prepared. Always understand that anything can happen and make yourself so strong that you know that so much has happened, but life should not stop. Okay? So the Buddha said in the Anguttara Nikaya that one who contemplates death, thinking, may I live long, just long enough to take one more breath, this one truly lives heedfully. So if you want to really be a good spiritual practitioner, a Dharma practitioner, you must not think that you will have a whole day to practice. Think that may I live long enough for just one breath, one more breath, to take one more breath, yeah? Okay? So one particularly powerful hardship comes from the story of Tilopa. Tilopa was in the same lineage as Milarepa, the lineage guru of the Karma Kagyu, the Kagyu school of Tibetan Buddhism. He had a student called Naropa, and Naropa was a scholar. and he was so full of himself also that he didn't actually have direct experience of many things. So when he found his teacher made him do so many trials and tribulations. So his teacher asked him to jump off buildings, go and beat up people, many things, yeah, harm his body in various ways, but that is those days teacher, not nowadays. Nowadays no such thing, yeah? Okay. So one day Tilopa said, okay, jump, go to the high building, jump down. So despite certain death below, Naropa jumped, trusting his teacher, yeah. So he jumped. So, but he was severely injured. But his teachers of those days, they all had the power to revive you. Now don't jump, okay? I tell you to jump, you go report police, okay? No jumping. So Tilopa said the fear of death is the greatest attachment. You know why he asked him to jump? Because when Naropa jumped trusting his guru, that at that particular time he cut the fear of his death. Please don't jump, anybody, young children, whoever. It's just a teaching story. It's not for you to try at home. So the fear of death is the greatest attachment. The willingness to die for Dharma, the greatest renunciation. So which means your hair is on fire also, you will practice. Not to say that, oh no, I'm dying, I'm sick, I don't want to practice, and all this, yeah. So between these two lies the path to realization. So one side is fear, the other side is willingness to die. One side is fear of death, the other side is willingness to die. In between is the path to realization. Okay? So any questions? We have reached the end of our meditation. So I have 5 minutes to give you some guidance. So for those of you who are frightened, if this meditation has freaked you out to a very great extent, don't worry. Always ground yourself in your breath, okay? The point is freedom, not fear. Okay, but if still frightened, there's one more way called the RAIN method. R-A-I-N, RAIN. So let me tell you what R stands for. R means recognize the fear. Were you frightened just now? Were you frightened? No, but some people are, because this is such a taboo subject. So number one, recognize your fear. Number two, allow it to be present, allow it to manifest. Number three, investigate with kindness. So investigate, what is this fear? Where does it come from? And number four, non-identification, then this is not me. It's not my fear. If the body is not yours, you can't take it along. So how can the fear be yours? Isn't it? Any others? So if you find your mind wandering, come back to your present moment, use the counting meditation technique I taught you last time. What else? And if you feel so scared, you can get up and do walking meditation or loving kindness meditation, touch your heart, which I'll teach you next week. What else? So if you're depressed, if you start feeling depressed, oh my goodness, this death meditation is very frightening, then you can contemplate on the preciousness of your human birth. How important it is, where it's a vehicle for you to benefit yourself and all living beings. And it's a gift, a divine gift from your parents, from the universe. Learn how to appreciate it. So think of it that you have it now. It's not that I'm asking you to meditate. Meditation on dying doesn't mean you will die. Now, you will die. I will die. I'm not willing you to die. It is already, ordained at birth that we will die. No one came on this earth with the mark here, warranty, limitless. This house supposedly it is what is it called? Freehold. Freehold means there's no 99-year lease, forever. There's nothing that the housing developer knows. There's nothing is forever. Okay, so we are under the illusion that it's forever. So 99 years warranty, 100 years warranty, 20 years warranty, 2 years warranty is already here, but there's no, immortality written here, isn't it? So if you're resisting that, sometimes in that meditation you resist, right? Right, so you come back to this, what they call that, the breath, and remember the urgency. So I quote you one from the Dhammapada. Here I will stay for the rains, here for winter and summer, thus thinks the fool. Not realizing the danger of death. So we plan Next year Chinese New Year we'll do this, that. This year Chinese New Year not yet finished. Next year Chinese New Year planning already. Anyway, I plan to have Yisang party. So anyway, who knows, what will happen, whether I will have my Yisang Losang or whatever it is or not, yeah? That is left to be seen. Any questions? So last but not least, I will urge you to practice in your daily life. This is a very important practice. So in your daily encounters, you look at flowers. Flowers are withering, right? When the flowers wither, it is impermanent. So you don't cry, oh, my flowers in the garden have withered. It's natural. But we cry when our human beings, cats, dogs, all we cry. But the flowers we don't cry. Strange, isn't it? Why? So when you see news of death, reflect. Such is the nature of all beings. So consider each evening, have I used this day wisely? Right? So morning is like you can take how to say, when you're walking, death is certain, the timing is uncertain. So take 5 to 10 minutes every day to practice some kind of reflections on death. If you are one who is considered frivolous and don't want to practice the Dharma, or not very spiritual person, the reflections on death is the best practice for you, right? So when you see an ambulance passing by, then you read news about death, or you see elderly or sick people, instantly bring to mind that death will occur, not to that person, to me. It's a warning sign. So we call it death bells. The other day I taught you bells of mindfulness 2 classes ago. Listen, the sound of the bird brings me back to my true nature. Today I talk to you about death bells. So which means the ambulance is like a death bell. What else? Reading about the death is like death bell. Seeing elderly or sick people is a death bell. Cling, 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 cling. Noticing the changes in nature, the flowers, Cring, cring. Death, death, death. Not to tell us to become depressed and stop living. Death, death, death means start living mindfully so that at the time of death I die happily. Liberate yourself from being a prisoner of death. Any questions? So understand this, yeah? This body is like a foam, feelings like bubbles, perceptions like a mirage, mental formations like a banana tree, and consciousness like a magic show. Sutta Nibbana. With this, I end the session. Thank you very much. So we dedicate this merit, so I would like to dedicate it especially to my late mentor, Professor William Fred Case. So wherever Professor is, may he be well and happy, may he be free from harm and danger, free from mental and physical suffering in the future, and at this moment free from mental suffering and fear, and may he attain a most auspicious afterlife. And may the merits of this meditation and the meditation done with bodhicitta, full mindfulness and selflessness for the benefit of all sentient beings, may these merits accrue to my dear Professor, who has given me so many chances in life and elevated my mind and my living conditions to be where I am today. My profound and utmost gratitude. Sunam de Tamche Zepa Ye Topne Nepe Tranam Famje Ne Kega Nache Bala Trupa Ye Sepe Sole Drova Drova Rishu Jancho Semjo Rinpoche Make Panam Ke Jurije Ke Panyampa Me Payam Gomne Gondo Pevaisho. May all beings be happy. May all beings be happy. May all beings be happy. Sabbe Sato Bhavantu Sukhita. Thank you for your kind attention. Okay.